Hello, this is Leslie Walker-Hirsch for Glass Alliance New Mexico, and today I'm very happy to be speaking on FaceTime with Patrick Morrissey. Patrick is an artist who works in glass, and he lives right here in Santa Fe. He has a master's degree in fine arts from Southern Illinois University and has also studied at Penland. Patrick is also the instructor at the Santa Fe Community College, marvelously famous glass class, and he's also an instructor at the American Indian Arts Institute of Art. He is also the co-founder and co-owner of Prairie Dog Glass at Jackalope on Cerrillos Road. Hi, Patrick. It's good to see you.
Hi, Leslie. It's good to see you too.
Great. Usually I just see you in class, but now I can see you right here. And also, Patrick is a former member of Glass Alliance New Mexico, so he's one of our own. And today I want to ask Patrick some questions and he can fill us in on the answers. So, Patrick, how did you first know that glass was going to be the way that would be a good way for you to express your ideas and yourself?
Well, I did a little bit of stained glass in high school, but a lot of clay work. And then after that, I got accepted to Penland School of Crafts in North Carolina. And down there, I started glass blowing. And it took about a week to figure out I really liked it a lot. So, and
When,
at that
some,
point, I was off and running. And
when
that was
something hits like
1978.
that, it's like lightning, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great. It's 1978 with Fritz Reisbach, and there was a lot of people at Penland doing many different courses. So I love Penland from all the different things they did there. You know, with Don Wrights and Clay. I mean, there was so many people there amongst in the other programs that would also help influence me.
Interesting. So, who were your mentors there at Penland or at Southern Illinois?
Well, at Penland, it was just a huge amount of people. It would change every 2 or 3 weeks. So I don't know if I had any specific, but I really enjoyed it all. I love clay immensely, still love it today, but I really love glass. And so you have to pick and choose. And so I can't do both all the time. So, and the glass studio that I own, it takes up a lot of my time, and so it's sort of one.
And so, where do you get your inspiration for making new stuff?
Um, I just start working, and I like to read the pieces that I'm working or the materials that I'm working on. A lot of my stuff is usually mixed media, mostly steel and glass, and so when I start a piece, I just sort of let it go and not really worry about what it actually says. And then I go ahead and put the glass in it, and then at that point, I start to read it. I let the piece speak to me as I go along. And there's a lot of formulas that I like, so I just follow a certain formula, and that puts me in a good spot. And at that point, I just say, "Oh, I need a little more detail in that corner," you know. And then once the pieces are done, that's when I really start to learn a lot about what it is I'm making. They really expose themselves in the end, you know.
So, what kind of advice would you give to beginning artists who want to work in glass, either blowing or fusing? What would you tell them to do?
Well, I early on I worked with Harvey Littleton, and he actually wrote a little book, and it was called "Technique is Cheap." And so he preached that a lot when I was down in North Carolina. And what he really means is it's not that being good technically is important. He would never say that. But what he's saying is love your work first. And anyone who loves their work, loves what they're doing, will always find way more techniques to deal with or to develop when they love their pieces. And so I'm always telling that to people. It's just love what you're making, watch where it takes you, and the technique will follow.
Well, that's certainly a lot like the advice you've given us in glass class, where at least some of us are just beginners.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean,
Patrick, oh, go
it's
ahead. I'm
fun to work
sorry.
with you. So
So, Patrick, I asked you to pick out a piece that you've made and
mhm.
to tell us about it. So, what did you pick out? I'm dying to
Well,
know.
yeah, yeah. Here you go. This is one of my Fire and Ice series right here. Okay, and this is forged steel down the bottom, and then this is colored glass, yellow, and then the other part is like a red, and I can even spin it around so you can see the multiple openings. Okay, and this is all sandblasted and carved, and I often think that these are like hearts. When I grew up in Connecticut, um, I was around a lot of apple trees, and so I always liked this kind of driftwood kind of look, or in this case, like a vein. And then I would carve these out, so like there's different chambers, and so it's somewhere between a heart and a seashell. Is what I really feel about them. I don't really specifically give them any more than that because I think with abstract art, it's really important to only go so far with your description because everybody brings to the table what they see in it. And if I give them too much information, they won't tell me what they see. And so I kind of miss the next step, right? It's not a diary just about what I'm making, but it's also a diary about what other people see in my work. And that's what I love about abstract is it sort of says one thing, but then it gives back to you.
So, everyone is so different. They'll all have a different story to tell, but you'll provide the seeds for that story.
That's correct. That's it. That's right.
So, Patrick, if some of our listeners wanted to hear more about your work or about the classes that you give instruction in, what would you tell them? Where would you tell them to go?
Well, they could come to Prairie Dog Glass, um, and that's where I give lessons, or just come watch me work, or they could either or take a class at the community college or at IAIA.
Okay, well, that's all great. So why did you pick this piece of glass to talk about instead of the many others that you've made? What do you like about this? I mean, you've told us a lot
Oh
about
yeah,
it.
yeah. I like each one. In this case, I really like the reds and the yellows. I often find myself enamored by Kandinsky. And so, and I like that whole thing about color theory. So I'm doing sculpture that's basically color theory. So when I walked up to the pieces today, I really liked the yellow and the red, and that was it. And that's the color theory, right? So my moods today were that, and so it won.
So that gives you the inspiration to make the rest of it.
Yeah, it does. And
Terrific.
so,
Patrick, thank you so much for spending a little time with us today. And I'll look forward to seeing you in class on Thursday, but I'll probably be there at the open studio too. Talk to
okay,
you soon.
bye bye.
Thanks,
Thank you, Leslie.
Patrick. Bye bye.
Bye bye.